Have you ever watched someone destroy your property while smiling like they're doing you a favor? What if the neighborhood watchdog was actually running a profitable scam that ruined lives for her real estate empire? And what happens when one quiet veteran decides to stop taking it and build something that turns the tables completely? It was 6 a.m. in Evergreen Villas, the kind of cookie-cutter paradise where every lawn got mowed to the exact inch the HOA demanded, and the mailboxes were supposed to be as boring as the rules themselves. I, Ethan Brooks, 49, retired Army engineer, had just moved in after my divorce, hoping for some peace after 20 years of building bridges under fire. The realtor had promised community spirit. What she forgot to mention was Lydia Kensington, the self-appointed queen of standards. My custom cedar mailbox, handcrafted with details from my late father's workshop, solid oak accents, a peaked roof that made it look like a mini cottage, was my first weekend project. I was tightening the last bolt when her designer heels clicked up my driveway like a warning shot. "Mr. Brooks," she purred, voice like honey poured over broken glass. "I'm Lydia Kensington, HOA president. That mailbox doesn't meet our aesthetic guidelines. We maintain certain standards here to protect property values, you understand." I wiped sawdust from my hands and pulled out my phone. Section 4.2 of the bylaws says natural wood is permitted if it's earth tone stained. This checks every box, ma'am. Her smile could have frozen the sun. The written rules are one thing, Mr. Brooks. The spirit of community harmony is another. A man with your background should know the importance of fitting in. The pause before background told me she'd already dug up my discharge papers. The mask slipped for half a second. "The mailbox stays," I said quietly. She took 3 photos with her phone. "We'll see about that. Good day." Her white Escalade purred away, chrome bumper gleaming like a threat. By Friday, the thing looked like it had been hit by a freight train. Posts snapped clean, with splinters everywhere, tire tracks carving through my flower bed like graffiti. I called the cops. Officers showed up, took notes, then shrugged when I mentioned the HO. Neighborhood disputes get messy without video, sir. He said, she said. The cease and desist letter arrived Monday on thick cream paper that smelled like old money and fresh extortion. 72 hours to comply or face $500 daily fines. I poured black coffee Navy style and read it twice. 20 years of military problem solving whispered one thing. When someone hides behind paperwork, their ground is shaky. Time to gather intel. The county courthouse smelled of old paper and broken dreams. Janet the clerk helped me pull the 1987 incorporation papers. Public record, perfectly legal. Original bylaws were reasonable. Mow your lawn, no purple houses, standard stuff. But buried in Section 12, any rule change needed 60% homeowner vote and 30 days notice. 90% of Lydia's sacred standards had never been voted on. She'd been running a dictatorship on personal preference and expensive stationery. While waiting for financial records, I started documenting. Phone recordings of every conversation, time-stamped photos, a green military notebook that became my evidence Bible. Tuesday brought reinforcements. Evelyn Hargrove, 78, retired attorney, knocked with warm oatmeal cookies and a folder thick as a phone book. "Thought you might need backup, dear." She settled in my kitchen like a scholarly assassin. "Lydia's got a system. 3 families in 5 years harassed until they sold cheap to her real estate firm. She controls the listings, tanks the comps, flips high 6 months later." The metallic taste of rage was back. This wasn't about my mailbox. This was systematic profit off fear. I requested the HOA bank records next. Turned out $47,000 in consulting fees had flowed straight to Lydia's private company for landscaping and maintenance. That never happened. No crews, no invoices, just checks. Wednesday, I built mailbox number 2, same grandfather design on the outside, steel core hidden inside, motion-activated camera broadcasting to the cloud. It lasted exactly 4 days. Sunday, 3 a.m. My phone buzzed. Live feed showed a dark Escalade creeping up, headlights off. Someone climbed out with a baseball bat. License plate obscured, but that distinctive rear dent glowed in infrared. Lydia's own vehicle had just signed its confession. I smiled in the dark. She wanted war. Perfect. Thursday, the petition hit my door like a scarlet letter. Residents demand action against disruptive neighbor. Illegal business, excessive noise, aggressive behavior. 12 signatures, half in suspiciously similar handwriting. By noon, the bureaucratic avalanche started. Noise complaints, business licensing, code enforcement inspections. Each one meant time off work explaining I wasn't running a criminal enterprise, just a retiree fixing leaky faucets for beer money. Desperation drove me to Marcus Lee's door, 2 houses down. He was the tech guy with Ring cameras covering half the street. "This is insane, man," he said, pulling up footage. "Lydia's been door to door with her clipboard, telling everyone you're tanking property values." His paranoia had created automatic cloud backups. We watched her propaganda tour in high definition. Friday evening, Marcus's dog needed an unusually long walk past the community center during Lydia's emergency safety meeting. Through the windows, we heard her voice. "Property values are our primary concern, but safety comes first." "We have a resident displaying aggressive tendencies." Her PowerPoint showed my mailbox circled in angry red, my truck violating commercial vehicle rules, even falsified charts claiming property values were plummeting. Marcus whispered, "Those numbers are fake. Real comps show 12% growth." His body cam caught every lie. That night, my garage became mission control. Evelyn arrived with more folders, Marcus with his laptop. Lydia was panicking. 3 houses under contract at 15% below market. She needed my property gone fast to justify the cheap flips. Tuesday's emergency meeting loomed like Judgment Day. The community center smelled of industrial carpet cleaner and 30 years of petty grievances. 40 residents packed the folding chairs. Lydia commanded the podium in her navy blazer, blonde hair helmet perfect. My house appeared on the giant screen like a wanted poster. Multiple violations by Mr. Ethan Brooks. The crowd murmured disapproval. But Evelyn stood like courtroom lightning. Point of order. According to actual MLS records, property values have risen 12%. These charts are fabricated. She slammed printouts down. The energy shifted. Whispers turned to questions. Lydia's composure cracked. "We appreciate Mrs. Hargrove's amateur research." Marcus rose. "All from families harassed into selling to prestige properties, your company." I stood, voice steady with 20 years of command. "And according to the original bylaws, 90% of your violations are fiction. Plus, we have proof of systematic harassment designed to force below-market sales." The room erupted. But I wasn't done. I played the audio clip Marcus had spliced, Lydia's voice clear as day. "The Brooks situation needs to be resolved quickly. We have 3 closings next month." Gasps. Evelyn dropped the financial bomb. $47,000 paid to Lydia's fake consulting firm for work that never existed. Cornelius Blackwood, her board lapdog, had signed every check. Lydia's face went chalk white. The carefully orchestrated execution had become a lynch mob pointed straight at her. The chaos was beautiful, but I needed silence for the kill shot. Evelyn opened her final folder like a death sentence. As a property owner, I examined the HOA finances. Over 3 years, $47,000 transferred to Thornburg Consulting, Lydia's private company, while no landscaping ever happened. Cornelius signed off without board approval. That's embezzlement. The crowd roared. Faces that had glared at me now glared at her. "You've been stealing our dues while forcing families out for your real estate flips." Lydia screamed over the noise. "These are baseless accusations." But her hands shook on the podium. Sweat beaded despite the chill. The sharks smelled blood. Marcus's laptop chimed with more proof. The meeting ended in pure pandemonium. 15 residents stayed behind. Our war council formed right there. Evelyn laid out the legal path: criminal conspiracy, embezzlement, mail fraud. Marcus secured all digital evidence in multiple clouds. Over the next 2 weeks, my garage smelled of coffee, determination, and cutting oil. We documented everything. Detective Morrison from the state HOA fraud task force confirmed the pattern across counties. Federal charges loomed. But Lydia's desperation turned feral. One morning my truck tires were slashed. Precise cuts. Professional. Marcus's cameras caught her hooded figure at 2:47 a.m. Then a county inspector showed up claiming unpermitted military-grade fortifications. My steel mailbox project was still in the garage, but the complaint called it a hazardous structure. The nuclear option arrived next, restraining order and emergency injunction signed by Judge Peton, Lydia's golf buddy. I couldn't attend meetings, couldn't document, couldn't build. 48 hours to remove all surveillance. Our counsel moved to Marcus's garage. Evelyn dissected the papers. They're weaponizing the system. But we have federal backup now. Thursday morning, heavy machinery rumbled down the street. Lydia's Escalade led 2 trucks and a demolition crew. She climbed out, clipboard in hand, fake cheer dripping. Emergency HOA maintenance. Removing hazardous structures. No hazardous tree. No real permit that wasn't fraudulently obtained. The crew eyed my nearly finished steel mailbox. The same grandfather design on the outside, marine-grade steel core, hidden 4K cameras, impact sensors, GPS, cellular backup that would survive anything. It looked innocent. It was a trap. Lydia waved papers. Approved by the county for safety concerns. The crew unloaded sledgehammers and cutting torches. Marcus filmed from his porch. Evelyn stood ready. But the restraining order said nothing about invited guests. I dialed Detective Morrison. The package is being delivered. Unmarked federal sedans rolled in from both ends. The crew froze. Lydia didn't. Start cutting. The first sledgehammer blow rang like a church bell. Sparks flew. The second cracked the handle. The mailbox didn't even dent. Detective Morrison stepped forward, badge flashing. Lydia Kensington, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, embezzlement, and violation of civil rights under color of law. Handcuffs clicked. Lydia screamed, "This is harassment. I was conducting authorized HOA business." Morrison held up federal warrants. These permits were obtained through fraud. That's a felony. The neighborhood poured out. 40 voices cheered as the news van arrived. Channel 7 captured it all. Lydia in cuffs beside my indestructible steel beast, Cornelius screeching up in his BMW only to get cuffed too, the demolition crew flipping on her for lighter sentences. 6 months later, Evergreen Villas woke up different. Lydia got 5 years federal time. Cornelius 3, plus a lifetime HOA ban. The embezzled $47,000 plus fraudulent fines funded the new Evergreen Community Justice Scholarship. Evelyn won treasurer unanimously. Marcus became secretary. Somehow the guy who built the steel mailbox got elected president. We burned Lydia's 30-page rule book and replaced it with 3 reasonable pages written by actual humans. First act, public hearings only, majority vote required. Revolutionary stuff, democracy in suburbia. Mrs. Patterson plants roses without looking over her shoulder. The Rodriguez kids laugh in Spanish on the porch. My steel mailbox, now called Fort Knox, stands scarred but proud, a neighborhood landmark. Kids take selfies with it. The city even listed it as a point of interest. Property values? Up 18%, the highest in the county. Turns out people actually want to live where they don't fear their own government. Standing here at sunrise, coffee in hand, watching the neighborhood breathe free for the first time in years, I taste something better than revenge. I taste hope. If you're fighting your own HOA nightmare, remember this. Document everything. Find your allies. Build something they can't break. Never underestimate neighbors who've finally had enough. Share your HOA horror story below. Let's build an army of people who fight back. Because justice shared is justice multiplied. Personal note. HOA Karen types thrive when good people stay silent. The real lesson? Quiet patience plus iron evidence beats loud power every time. Stand up smart, stay legal, and watch the tyrants fall. Your mailbox, your freedom, might just be the weapon that saves the whole block.